You know what's mind-blowing about ancient history? Sometimes a single wrong turn can change the course of civilization. That's exactly what happened when a blocked travel route led to Christianity's first foothold in Europe.
That's fascinating. How did a detour end up having such massive historical implications?
Well, it all started when Paul and his missionary team tried heading to Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. But they kept hitting these mysterious roadblocks that the text describes as the Holy Spirit preventing them from going there.
Hmm. And this wasn't just a minor setback. They actually tried multiple routes and kept getting blocked, right?
Exactly. They attempted to go to Bithynia next, but same thing happened. Then, Paul gets this vivid vision of a Macedonian man begging them to come help. So they cross over to Europe, becoming the first Christian missionaries to set foot on the continent.
The irony is that when they finally arrive, their first convert isn't even a man. It's this successful businesswoman named Lydia who deals in luxury purple dyes.
Oh man, and those purple dyes were seriously expensive back then. We're talking about the ancient equivalent of selling designer goods. Historical records show that 1 pound of this purple dye could cost up to 3 pounds of gold.
That really puts Lydia's social status in perspective. And she immediately uses her resources to support their mission, opening her home as their base of operations.
But here's where things take a wild turn. They encounter this slave girl who's being exploited for fortune telling. The text says she was possessed by a spirit of divination, literally a python spirit, in the original Greek, which was associated with the Oracle of Delphi.
So when Paul frees her from this spirit, her owners are furious about losing their income source. And this leads to one of the most dramatic prison scenes in ancient literature.
You've got to picture this. They're beaten severely, thrown into the maximum security section, feet locked in stocks. And what do? Start having a midnight worship service. The other prisoners are probably thinking these guys have lost their minds,
Well, that's until the earthquake hits and breaks everyone's chains. Though what happens next is perhaps even more surprising.
right? They don't escape. Even though they could have seen this as divine intervention, they stay put to prevent the jailer from committing suicide. Roman law would have required him to face execution if his prisoners escaped.
The transformation in that jailer is remarkable. Within hours, he goes from being their tormentor to washing their wounds and hosting them for a meal.
And here's something fascinating about ancient Roman prisons. Archaeological evidence shows that these stocks they were put in weren't just restraints. They were designed to force prisoners' legs apart at painful angles as an extra form of torture.
That makes their midnight singing even more extraordinary. How do you maintain that kind of joy under those conditions?
The aftermath reveals another layer to this story. Paul and Silas were actually Roman citizens, which meant they had legal rights that were seriously violated. But they didn't reveal this until after everything else played out.
So they willingly endured illegal punishment when they could have avoided it entirely. That's quite a strategic decision.
And look at what resulted. The first European church was established with this incredibly diverse membership: a wealthy merchant, a former slave, a Roman jailer, and his family. Historical records show that the Philippian church became one of the strongest early Christian communities.
You know what's really striking about this whole narrative? How it challenges our modern obsession with perfect planning and control.
That's exactly right. Here's Paul, arguably the most influential missionary in history, basically improvising his way through a series of unexpected events. And those very disruptions ended up changing the course of Western civilization. Sometimes our blocked paths are actually redirections to something much bigger than we imagined.